stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
John Baisley, First Ward. Bill Carlos, Second Ward.
Joe Conti, Third Ward.
Joseph Lepore, Fifth Ward.
Ann Trushin, Sixth Ward.
Todd Tancredi, Supervisor.
Alicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Jim Nelson, Attorney for the Town.
All right, we've got one presentation tonight. We're planning on doing another presentation related to the police accreditation, but the gentleman we had invited to lead that presentation couldn't make it, so we're going to reschedule that. And then item number 3 has also been removed. So I'm going to have the chief come up. We've got something this year that we're going to try in the town of Poughkeepsie. I think it's an exciting idea. It's something geared towards our youth that will be run through the police department, but I'm going to let the chief and Officer Hamill tell us about it.
Great, thanks. I know we're the only agenda item, so we're not going to keep you all night. We've been discussing ways to get the police and the youth together outside of the Spattenkill community. Obviously, with Officer Hamill in the Spattenkill High School as the school resource officer, we have a lot of contact with the youth there, and really not many other interactions that are positive that we create ourselves with that segment of the population. So, in tossing around some ideas, we thought we'd try something new for us. It's not new to police work, and doing some research. There's several departments all over New York State and all across the country that do this. So what we wanted to try and do this year for the first time is run a youth police academy using our police training room, community room at the police station. And the idea is that we would most likely do it the first full week that the schools are closed. That gives me the opportunity to appoint Officer Hamill as the director of the academy for the week, who has a wealth of knowledge and experience to impart on these young kids. And that being said, I'd like Chris to talk about some of the ideas of some of the instruction that we're going to give these kids, and some of the things that we're going to expose them to for that week. Why don't you go ahead and do that?
Yeah, so far laying it out, Monday through Friday, and breaking it up into segments. They're going to have a full day. There's not going to be much sitting around other than when they're getting instruction. The very first day, just go through some things. They're going to get the introduction from the chief and the captains, the administrative duties, but they're also going to get on that full day, the history of law enforcement. They're going to get segments of classes on leadership, on civility, on ethics. They're also going to get arrest procedures, understand, when arrests are made, how arrests are made. They're going to get the Article 35 to understand the use of force. And then as the week progresses, they're going to be getting different segments from different parts of our department. We want to expose them to the patrol division, the detectives, and then the specialized units that we do have within our department. I also have a part that I'd like to have someone from the district attorney's office come in and also talk to them about when crimes are taking place, how they proceed through the courts and the court system. And then at the end of the day, they will have some physical fitness. Very first day, they're going to get the same physical fitness assessment that they would have going into a police academy. And then throughout the week, every day, they're going to get a form of physical fitness. Whether it's through running, whether it's through teamwork, team bonding, to do things together. And then we're gonna work in a day with some canine, and half the class would go to the canine fields while the other class would go to firearms training simulator in the city of Poughkeepsie. And with all this, different segments so they can have everything hands-on as well as sitting in a classroom and listening, so they get all the vision, the hearing, and the touching, all that stuff going on, so they can get a sense of what they want to do. And the whole part of this is for them to even start this is they have to fill out an application. And with that application, that they're going to be filling everything out as if they were for a police academy, which means there'll be a background check at the school, which they sign off with the parents. And we go to the school and check and say, how is this student? We don't want just students who are not looking for future in law enforcement. We want students that are well-rounded. We're not looking for 8+ kids. We're looking for kids that really want to push themselves and to do this. We want to give them the full appearance of the police academy within a week. And let them see what it entails and what they have to do. And when we're done, they're going to get a whole class in reality-based training. They're going to be able to see what a traffic stop is like because they're going to do a traffic stop themselves. And they're going to be able to get up and talk to the people in the car and ask them for the license and registration. And then they're also going to see how things can change within a very short period of time. So we want to give everything to them within that 1 week's period.
And we're trying to make it obviously as positive interaction as we possibly can. And we're trying to educate them as far as what just some of the challenges and responsibilities of being a police officer entail. More so than what they would get from watching a TV show. We're going to try and bring as much reality to it as we can. And when he said firearms before, there was simulator at the end, so it's the FATS machine. It's not real firearms. We're not going to have them shooting at each other or us. It'll be on the simulator at the city.
I know you made Mr. Nelson a little nervous.
Jim almost fell out of the chair, but that's not.
I saw him right in the word liability.
That's not what we're looking to do. All right, I think they'll find it very. I hope we have the interest to pull it off, and I think they'll find it very interesting and very challenging, and hopefully a little bit exciting, and maybe a little boring too. But that's what police work is sometimes.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's, especially in today's society, a way for our police to interact with the youth in our community. I think it's a very positive, action. I'm wondering, and Chief, we may have spoken about this, but what age groups are we targeting?
We're looking. It's going to be town residents entering 10th, 11th, or 12th grade in September.
Okay. And how many students are you thinking about having in the class?
For this first one, I no more than 20.
Okay.
That way we can keep it even, especially when they pair up. The numbers just work better that way.
And how will we get the word out? I mean, obviously we have a website, we have a municipal channel, we can advertise on that, but did you have any other thoughts on?
We're gonna leave applications at the schools, at the high schools. Chris can obviously do his, and we'll get Gary will help out. He's going to be very involved. Sergeant Hulbert, our community policing sergeant. Tom Meyering, who I spoke with at length about this, was very supportive of this idea. I told him I wasn't trying to interfere with what he had going on with his camp, but he was very supportive of this, and he offered to send the application packet out to his email list that he has, which is, I guess, pretty significant.
It is, yes.
But it's clear in the paperwork that you have to be a town resident to attend to this.
That's fantastic.
Okay.
And Jim, if you want to be thinking about this, if there's some type of release or something we need.
We have the whole
parents
packet put
sign?
together.
Okay,
Yep.
good,
Yep.
good.
Medical release, parental release.
Good.
A waiver if we take any photos or anything like that or video. And we'll provide some of that stuff to the students at the end of the class. We'll do a nice video, montage or whatever they call them for the kids to have. We'll do a graduation ceremony the last afternoon, which anybody that'd like to come down to that.
Yeah,
We'll send them a
that'd be
certificate.
Sounds like a great idea.
We'll try to compress 16-week police academy into a week and see how it works.
One of the things we were talking about too, and I also said, because we're wondering, lunch is provided, where are they going to put them? My suggestion to the chief was, well, why don't we talk to local businesses and have healthy choices for lunch, instead of them bringing in a couple of slices of pizza, soda,
absolutely.
and everything. Have Monday's lunch is being brought to you, by this business, one of our town businesses, but it's a healthy lunch for them, so they can, because we're going to explain to them that we don't always eat very healthy, doing the fact that we don't have a table in our vehicle, so it's a quick meal. But we'd like to get them to continue what they're doing all year in school, which is healthy choices for lunch.
And we believe we have an interest from the union, the PBA, to partner up and provide, we're going to try and give them a uniform, T-shirts
Yeah.
and shorts, so everybody's, in a uniform, and I believe I've got some buy-in from the PBA executive board on helping with that.
You
Chris?
think- Sorry.
Go ahead.
Just one last thing. The first week after school ends, I'm just wondering about Officer Hamill with his schedule as a school resource officer. You think that's the best week, or I don't want to, make it too compressed so that you can't plan?
No, that is a very good week, because right after that, you're running at the 4th of July, people going away. Such programs such as our camp counselors
Yeah.
start right after the 4th
Okay.
of July. So
Okay,
you might
perfect.
have a kid
Sure.
that's been a camp counselor that wants to do this. So they'll give them the opportunity as well.
All right, great.
That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
this is an excellent idea. I think it will take the kids out of, or some families that can afford camp or whatever, or, they won't be in the house and playing video games. This is an excellent idea. I just have a couple of questions. One is, how many schools do you think you would just spread the word?
Well, we have I believe 6 schools in the town of Poughkeepsie, between the Roosevelt School District, the Spankill School District, Arlington, Wappingers, Lourdes, Faith Christian Academy. So that's 6 right there that we have of the town. Within the town. Now, whether they're some of those schools have town residents in them, we'd have to check when it comes. But those other 5, the main 5, will have students that go to those schools that live in the town of Poughkeepsie.
All of those school districts have kids that live in the town.
So my question to that is that if you do get a request more than 20 kids, students, would you have like a second session for, I don't know, not the end of June? Because obviously this is a great program, and this will give, a career into either a police officer or going further to be an FBI agent or something of that nature. So are you prepared to be overwhelmed of applications?
Well, my thought, we'd have to come up, we'd have to think about a process. I think the first year that we do this, I think we should probably stick to a week, and maybe we can go as high as 24, without overburdening, burdening the instructors. I like to start off very cautiously.
And also, the kids are going to have, you have a wide enough age group that they'll have opportunities the next year to apply. So if they don't make it this year, they can apply again the next year.
Right, I think that's our best. I don't really know what to expect. I'm hopeful that there'll be an interest, but yeah,
think
we
you
might have
will.
what you said. It might be a significant amount of interest, and we'll have to come up with a process to
And
to
the
vet
last thing is, and
applications.
Chris, I'm not sure this, would they get credit at the academy because they participated in this program?
In a
Is that
in
some
a
kind
real
of a-
academy?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't think I shouldn't say no, but I wouldn't think that they would get any kind of credit in a real academy, because the real academy, when you're in there, you have to maintain a daily attendance. You have to maintain grades. You have to maintain your physical fitness, through all that, and be evaluated the entire time. So this does give them that one little bit of a jump start to understand that, when we do our physical assessments for new recruits coming into the police departments, they have to pass a series of sit-ups, then push-ups, then a mile-and-a-half run. We lose a good portion of our candidates at the sit-ups. We then lose a larger majority at the push-ups. And then we end up, say, with 22 starting, we'll end up with 4 for the mile-and-a-half run. And those are the 4, if they complete, that's 4 out of 22 that actually can go move forward in that process. So if you start them now to understand that this is how you take things serious, this is how you start, this could help all of us out in the future.
Joe, we're just giving them a little bit.
Yep.
It's going to be
I think-
very fast paced. They're going to be.
Yep.
They're not going to have any downtime. They're not going to have time to play on their iPhone or anything like that.
No,
when they're in there.
again, this is a great idea, and a great job for you guys to come with the idea. Like I said, it also gives these young folks an indication what is a police officer. As you know, the world has been negative towards the police department, so this will be a great, and you start with the young folks that, it's an education process. So I think well done, and I think it's a great job. And
Community involvement. I'm sure these kids will remember this for a lifetime. I think it's a great idea. Appreciate you guys taking the initiative to do it. Chris, you want to talk to me offline? I can work with my company, maybe we can be one of the people that help with those healthy lunches. So please, when you get a chance, get a hold of me up at Adams, and I'll make some phone calls and talk to some people to try and help out that as well.
Certainly.
I think it's fantastic.
I mean, the thought process, hey, it may be only 20 kids, but if they tell 3 or 4 other kids what a
yeah.
great experience
Community,
they
yeah.
had, the guys aren't bad guys.
Yeah.
I spent a week with them, they're good guys
Fantastic.
and girls, and I mean, that's the hope, and we'll see
Chief,
what happens.
Just that you're making
Yeah.
the opening,
Absolutely.
you're stepping way ahead. Because they're not orphans, they have parents, and they have brothers and sisters, and there are neighbors and aunts and uncles.
Yep.
And that alone is a step that's really worth everything you do. If you need any help, I gladly help.
I
I
appreciate
think this
that.
is what you call it, thinking out of the box a little bit, and well done.
I think it's a great idea.
It's new for us, so we'll see how
Yeah,
it
we'll
goes.
see how it goes. And there may be, who knows, there may be a
Your chief.
road,
future, sure.
a bump along the way, but it's our first summer doing it. I think it's a tremendous idea. I've loved the idea since the chief brought it up, and I'm glad to hear everybody here is supportive. So.
Yeah, absolutely, I appreciate it.
Chris, have you ever been to one in another area? Have you ever been to one? I know you've read about them and they've done this in other places. Have you ever been to one or talked to a lot of guys that have done them in other areas?
That's what we've been doing.
Yes, probably about the past month and a half, I've been contacting police officers across the country. I've been, staying out of New York for a little bit because I'd like to see what they're doing in other. Made some nice contacts in Westerly, Ohio, who've been doing this now for 9 years. And they did the same thing, started out with a week, and now they have multiple weeks. And it's a program that's run that these kids, what they do is they go to this for a week, and then if they want to continue, they go for a second week, but it's an accelerated, and then that brings them into an Explorer program. I mean, they took it to a whole nother level. So then I talked to some places in upstate New York, such as Amsterdam, and then I also talked to Rochester. They have it up in Rochester, and there's the same thing. They said they just can't accommodate how many kids that want to do it, but they leave it open to, hey, listen, we're going to continue this, and please. So kind of working a curriculum and looking at a bunch of different police departments and what they've done. Nothing negative from everybody I've spoken to. It's all been a very positive thing. And if you go on, YouTube and Google have everything. But if you go on Google and type in Youth Police Academies, they will have bits and pieces of video taken at all of these, and I'll tell you what I was watching. I was like, this is really interesting, and watching the kids, young adults, enjoying it and working really hard. It shows that they do like direction. They do like to have something that's organized, and they want to be part of something. So it really it speaks volumes.
I think you have the perfect age group too, because you get so many kids that go to college and they go and they take their classes and they walk out and they really have no clue. I mean, you guys have seen how many have gone through the academy and they get all the way done and this isn't what they want. This gives them a start and says, maybe this is what I really want to do, and maybe enough to say this isn't what I want to do. Right. I mean, you got that perfect age group. They're applying to colleges. They're getting ready to go, and the sophomores and the juniors, this could wake some students up to really realize this is what they want, and because you guys are giving that step that they're not going to see in the 4 years of college until they get out and actually get accepted and they say, this is definitely what I want. I think this is a win-win. I don't think there's a lost program at all, because with your background and your experience, I think this is definitely in the right direction.
Great. No, thank you. And what's nice is BOCES has the CTI program, and there's a career in law enforcement there. And this might get a student that wasn't 100% sure what they want to do to bridge into that. So it kind of helps them with some other choices as well.
Chris, you said that they'll be going out and ask for a license. Are they going to ride inside the police cars?
No, this is part of the reality-based training.
Like
in the back of the police station, we have the modulars, and we do a lot of training back there. And we can set up a stagnant scenario right there. Cars already parked. We have our guys as the role players, and the kids will walk up with a police officer, with one of us that's working with them to understand how to talk to people at the car, what you're looking for, what you're doing. Just gives them the whole scenario. It's not out on our streets. No, this is in the confines of our police department. No driving any cars, no wearing any uniforms, no carrying any weapons.
No.
That's a good thing.
They will be with the guys, and they'll show them how fast
It'll be
things
like
can
an
go.
academy set up in a sense.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes. And that's a very good question, because I want to make sure you guys understand that they aren't going to be touching the streets
No.
during any of this.
Marlene was looking worried when she thought there were going to be more patrolmen out there. But he's all right now.
You wanted to
Old
sign up?
Lightfoot.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a very good question, yes.
Anything
Thank you
else?
very much, guys.
That's a great idea. Good
Awesome.
work, guys. Keep it up.
It's awesome.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, let's run through our committee reports, and then we'll take questions from, or comments from the audience. Finance,
Nothing to report.
Fire Advisory,
Nothing to report.
Government Ops,
Nothing to report?
Land Use and Planning,
Nothing to report.
Personnel, Councilman Safon's not here, Conti or Carlos, anything special there?
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report.
Recreation,
We had Cal Ripken Little League opening day Saturday. I think it was very well attended, probably over 200 people there. This Saturday is Little League North, and girls softball is opening this weekend. And then on the senior note, Friday night's senior prom at the senior center. So
if
it's a
anybody
pretty
wants
good
to stop by.
weekend.
It's a great event, the seniors love it. It's through Arlington High School. The government class comes down and has a little prom. The students and the seniors interact.
What time is that?
Four to six, but if you can stop by and just stop in and.
We're at the senior center?
Right at the senior center. You'd enjoy it. It's really enjoyable time.
We can have a dance or two. Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
We look for a date.
Seniors, and speaking of the senior center, Jay, did you have anything else on
No,
that?
that was it.
We're, as of last check, we're bringing in 250 seniors a week through our senior center. So the numbers continue to grow there. The programs continue to be, I think, more diverse. And, it's great to see so many seniors in town of Poughkeepsie taking part and, coming together there.
It's a full schedule. I mean, if you look at the new senior newsletter that's out, that's available in the rec department and town hall, it's quite a full schedule from, exercise classes to, they have doctors come in, heart specialists come in and talk to them, and the police department was over there a couple weeks ago speaking to them, and our planning department was there. There's always something going on. I mean, it doesn't have to be just the fact that you're coming in to hang out. There's a lot going on.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's very true. And I would just want to, Tom Myring, our rec director, has really done a great job with the senior center, with working with the seniors. I think he's really putting together a great program for the town of Poughkeepsie. Technology and equipment,
Nothing to report.
infrastructure.
The Infrastructure Committee met with representatives from Central Hudson. We're discussing the proposed paving schedule and their proposed construction schedule for gas lines so that we don't have conflicts to try and work together. They're very supportive of the idea. They were thrilled they were asked to come. And we're going forward with that slowly, and I'll keep the board notified.
Great, thanks. All right, that brings us to the end of our agenda. Now, we have a few residents in the audience. Is there anyone here who would like to speak to the town board or any issues or questions? If now, raise your hand. If so, raise your hand. Linda, come on up.
And I think that's a great idea, what you're doing, because I went to Stacken Hill a long, long time ago, and I think that's a great idea, just to let you know that.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Todd. Good evening. My name is Linda Cole. I'm a homeowner on Davis Avenue. I have lived there for 26 years, and I've never had a problem like this. For me to come here to speak to you all, it is very upsetting. Now, first of all, before I start, I want to tell everyone here I love dogs. I have nothing against dogs. My husband and I, and growing up, we've always had dogs, so this is not an
I
issue.
think I've seen Dave walking your dog
Yes,
around
yes.
Arlington in the past.
So it has nothing to do that I don't like dogs. It's completely false, okay? When I finish telling you this, what's going on for 2 years, you will understand it's also not good for the people that live on the street and the dogs. Okay. 2 years, this has been going on my street for 2 years. The neighbors have got together, we have sent emails, we have talked together, we have called the town, we have done everything possible to try to fix this problem. It is our neighbor it's very upsetting because it's our neighbor. And also, he was my friend for 5 years. I took care of both of his dogs, Monday through Friday, and if I was around on the weekend. So it has nothing to do with that. The problem is, he has a girlfriend, okay? And she is living with him. There is 8 dogs in this house. At one time, there was 10. There are 8 dogs. He has 2. She has 6, okay? His dogs are small, hers are very large. All right. So us neighbors on the street talked to him because we've known him a long time. We figured we could solve this problem on deaf ears. We told him that we were very worried about this because the dogs were very large and that they were barking constantly. Sometimes at 6 o'clock in the morning, till 11 o'clock at night. When you have that many dogs, if you are all dogs owners, you know that, they have to go out. And every time they go out, if neighbors are out on Davis Avenue, we have sidewalks, all right? Neighbors are going out with their kids or barbecuing or talking, the dogs are barking. They don't know us. They're in and out of the house. So it is a noise ordinance. And I am aware of the noise ordinance with the town because many years ago I worked with the first community officer, so I know the noise ordinance. The thing with this is that the police, who I have no problem with, let me tell you, the police have to be there to hear the noise. And when the dogs go in the house, they're not out. And I know they're very busy. So a lot of neighbors feel this is not the rate to be bothering him. We thought that we could fix this problem, but on deaf ears. We also tried to talk to the girlfriend. She lives across the river at first. Then she moved into the house. The dogs are all with her, all right? We tried to tell her that on our street, we have people that work 3rd shift, 1st shift, 2nd shift. They're home on all different hours. That we all love our dogs. We all have dogs. We all try to keep them quiet. You can't stop the dogs from barking, but that many is just too much. So since we didn't get through to him, somebody called the dog warden. The dog warden came to the house. They weren't home. She left a notice stating, I need to know how many dogs are at this. There was a complaint. I don't know if they had 24 hours or 48 hours. I really don't know that part. But they had to get back with her. The dog warden knows about all the dogs. Of course, my neighbor, his 2 lovely dogs are licensed. All her dogs are licensed, but they're licensed across the river. All right? So one neighbor talked to the dog warden twice. A couple neighbors talked to him. I've talked to him. My husband's talked to him. And we were told if the dogs ever got loose, she couldn't keep the dogs there. She's not a resident of the town of Poughkeepsie. She just lives with her boyfriend. Well, the dogs did get loose. Unfortunately, it was on a weekend, a Saturday. The dog warden was not there. Phone calls were placed to the dog warden that the dogs got out. And this is what we were afraid of. My neighbor has 2 little kids, 2 little girls. They went crossed to his house. Luckily, the girls weren't out. Okay, so all these dogs are running rapid, all right? So we called the dog warden to tell them, the dogs are running. This is the time, this is the date. Well, she did not tell us until Monday. The next 2 days later, we got a phone call from her. She wasn't very nice. Told us we should have called the police. They're supposed to gather up the dogs. Well, we had no idea that we were supposed to call the police, and I'll tell you the truth. I'd rather have you looking at the streets than getting dogs. Okay, so that was our first problem. And we were let down. Okay, we were told from the dog warden, we are adults. We're making a phone call telling you these dogs are loose. She didn't see it. and we didn't call the police, so nothing was done. So that was our first problem with this. Our second problem was, we just said, we were all talking and saying, well, there has to be something that we can do here. This is unsafe for the dogs, all right? The homeowner owns a house. It's a single-family house. All the 2 adults and the 8 dogs live on the bottom floor of the house. The upstairs is not done. And I have been in that house when all those dogs are together. You cannot move. It is not a safe, you feel so bad for the dogs because there's no room anyway, and it's not fair to the dogs in that house. I'm concerned about that. So then we were all talking, the neighbors were talking, we said, well, maybe we should call the fire department and see if they can help us out. We're not getting any help from the dog warden. We made phone calls to the town. The town said, well, she cannot live there. And we told her, well, she's living there. But that there's on that. So that was the second thing. So then we called the fire company. They said, this is a safety issue. If we had to get into that house with all those dogs, and the houses are very close on Davis Avenue, we would have a safety issue. You have to let the town know because that's their responsibility. So we let the town know. We never heard anything back. It got to a point where my councilwoman would say, well, why weren't more neighbors calling? Well, they were fed up. This has been going on for 2 years. How many phone calls do you have to make to fix this situation? And I think that we're right now to a point where we feel like we're all just falling on deaf ears. Nobody's hearing us. And that's the thing that's really bothering us because it's not fair to people that live there, and it's not fair to those dogs. I just wanted to end this with this. If any of you were living next to this for 2 years, you feel like you're living next to a kennel. You know that dogs will bark. We can't stop them from barking. But even though the yard is fenced in, you still have squirrels, you still have birds, and you still have neighbors. So it is very upsetting. I talked to the dog warden a couple weeks ago. She said the only way this will get fixed, and this is from the dog warden, who has the list of all the dogs, is you have to have some kind of law on the books. I don't know what else to say. It's just very, very frustrating. If I lived on a country road, I wouldn't care if she had 20 dogs. If I didn't have to hear them, that's fine. But it's very difficult, for the people that live there and for the people, that have to get up early in the morning. I mean, on the weekends. My husband works every other weekend. He's up at 4 o'clock in the morning. 6 o'clock, she's out with the dogs. I have personally talked to her. I can't tell you how many times. And I said to her, I understand that you're living here, but you lived across the river with your mother. You have a lot of land. Can't you leave the dogs there? Or just bring one? I would rather have, 3 or 4 dogs than 8. Her response to me was this: I want to give my mother a break. That's why I'm living here. So I'm just calling just to see what you can do just to help us. I don't know what else to do at this point. None of us on the street. We don't want to call the cops every time the dogs are barking. We're not going to do that. We need our police officers for crime and to help us when we have a problem. But I'm just asking all of you if you can just help us, if you can just do something that we can sleep at night or go in. I mean, I can't even have company in my backyard for a barbecue. You can't hear the people talk. So I don't know what else to say. I hope that you can help us.
I appreciate you being here. Linda and I spoke a few times about this issue, and basically what it comes down to is, obviously we have a leash law. The dogs generally, I think, are in the yard. There is a noise issue when they all come out. I think it's understandable that when a call like this comes into the police department, it's a low priority call in terms of response time. So typically, when the police do respond, as Linda said, the dogs are back in the house. The town does not have any law or ordinance regulating the number of
It
dogs
does.
you can have as
It
a
actually
pet.
does.
No, it doesn't.
It's in the zoning code.
It doesn't. It regulates the number of dogs if you board them or have a kennel,
Right.
not the number of pets. This
That's
lady,
the only way you can have that many is if it's a kennel.
this lady, these are pets. She's not taking money to keep these dogs. It's not a kennel, and she's not boarding them. They're her pets.
Not breeding them, and that was one of the other requirements.
There's no ordinance on the books that would regulate the number in this case. So and I've told Linda, the only thing the town could do is put something on the books to regulate the number of dogs you have. There's a lot of questions as to whether all of you would want to do that. It gets into what's the number, does it depend on size? There's a huge difference if you have 5 Chihuahuas as opposed to 5,
they all
Labrador
bark,
retrievers.
I understand the
True.
barking
So
part, too.
but I think it's something you have to think, carefully about.
I think, Todd, this is also part of a quality of life, too.
Listen, I understand, but I'm just going to caution you. I can guarantee you, just as many residents who are sitting out there saying we need to do something, there's going to be those that own dogs. So be careful just before you respond and make an immediate.
I just had a question. Have you asked her why so many dogs? And obviously, she's not
Yes, I
breeding.
have talked to her about it, and she said, these are my dogs, these are my life, and this is what I want. This is her exact words. Now, the thing that gets the people upset on the street is this. We're taxpayers. We're homeowners. She's a girlfriend. Why does she have more rights than us? And another thing that bothers all of us, if those dogs get loose again and someone gets bit, those dogs are licensed across the river. You don't
supposed to be
think you're going to
licensed
get, you don't think you're going to get a lawsuit from somebody?
Linda, here's the problem with something like that. Yeah, if she lives here, they're supposed to be licensed here.
It's where the dog resides.
If she can show she's a property owner in Ulster County, if she's getting mail, if her license is in Ulster, it's going to be very, we haven't not thought this through. I mean, it's going to be very hard to prove, Linda tells me she's there 5 out of the 7 days or whatever it is, or, 20 days in a row. But if all her legal information has her residing across the river, it's going to be hard for us to prove. It's going to come down to proof, legal proof that she's
Well, the only thing
living
I
here.
can say for that, Todd, is the dog warden has all her information. The dogs are all licensed
Oh, I
across the river.
believe you. Yeah, I understand.
But her address on there, I believe, is across the river, because
Right.
that's where her dogs
I would agree. I think
are
so.
licensed. And another thing, when she's walking her dogs, she walks 4 of her dogs at a time. These are large dogs.
What kind of dogs are they?
They are labs, but I've had a lab, you have a lab. They're huge.
Are they all labs, the
No.
dogs?
No.
There's 2 or 3 Rottweiler mix?
Oh, yeah?
Yes. They're all large dogs,
Dogs, okay.
yes. And like I said,
Yeah,
Just feeding them is going to be a financial.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I've also spoken with the animal control person about this, and actually, I'm relieved for you to say that there were only 6, because this is an extreme situation, but when she
no,
spoke
there's
to...
8. There's 8, because the homeowner has 2.
No. When she first spoke to her, she had 11 dogs. And with the 2 from the home number, it was 13 dogs there.
Well,
So
I'll
I'm
tell
really
you-
glad it's down to 8. And she
But
also...
we haven't counted them. They're so hard to count.
I
There's
know.
so many, but she has the list
And
of
also,
the dogs.
she said this is a dog sled team. She has an Adirondack dog sled team, so that's why she has so many large dogs. She's using them sled dogs.
Yeah, you're right,
It's
Todd,
a
because
hobby.
it'd be 20 parakeets. How do you?
It's going to be, it's something, it's going to be something we've got to think about, consider.
How about safety
glad
issue
Linda's
with the fire
brought it up
code?
here.
Isn't there some way, I understand, I feel that majority of people don't want to be told how many dogs you can have
Right.
in a house.
Right.
But when you're thinking safety issues, quality of life. If the dogs get out and bite someone, all right, it's more than one. The fire issue with the fire department saying this is a bad situation. If we have to get into that house, there's no room for us. It's a safety issue. You would think there would be something that you could do that would help us. I mean, like I said, she's living there. When she first started going over there, this is a funny story. When she first started going there, she left all her dogs in her truck because she had to get her dogs with the boyfriend's dogs to see if they would all mix. So we put up with the dogs barking in the car, but that was good because she left in the evening. So we put up with that, and that was fine. But now she's there 24/7. So now it's a whole different thing. So, I mean, we are frustrated. We're frustrating as homeowners, as taxpayers, as dog lovers. We are
Well,
frustrated.
I think you can understand, Linda, and I know you do, that, this is a unique, as
Yes, it's.
Ann said, this is a unique situation. This isn't something most people live a normal life. They may have a dog or two, maybe two dogs and a cat. Most people don't live with 8, 10, 11
Right.
big dogs in a relatively small residence.
Yes, it is
those are
small.
probably quarter-acre lots. We're not talking about, as Linda said, a big piece of land out in the country. So it is a unique situation. These are the ones that are hard to try to solve, the ones that
Yes.
are odd. But I appreciate you coming here tonight. The reason I thought it was a good idea for you to come in is to explain to the board exactly what's going on. It's something we're going to have to thoughtfully
And-
consider and think about.
And
the
also,
sad-
I'm
and
glad the chief of police is sitting here too, because maybe between him and the community officer, and animal control falls underneath you too, doesn't it? Yes.
I mean,
So
wouldn't it
this
be a
is really
smart
an issue
idea
in
to
your
have
court.
a dog warden, like on the weekends, like if it, because it seems like a lot of times that's when there's a lot of problems going. I
If
know,
the dogs are running loose on the weekend, you can call the police department, and based on call volume, we'll send somebody over there.
I mean,
But
they're
then
not
again-
getting out. These things aren't running loose. You would, yeah.
they got out
one
once,
time you
and
told
then
me.
his dog got out afterwards. He didn't even know it was gone.
Gotta
She
be
came to
driving
my
them
house.
crazy too, sitting in that house with
You
all
would
those
think.
dogs barking, my God.
You would think.
That's 3 rooms, it's very
Does the dog
small.
control officer's work schedule, is that controlled by contract?
Yes.
So she's a Monday to Friday contractual position?
But you see, my problem is this: if an adult is calling, and we've already had 2 neighbors talk to her, we talked to her, other people have talked to the dog warden, and we're telling her, the dogs got loose. This is the date. You're not there. This is the time. These are the dogs that got loose. Because she wasn't there, she didn't believe us. Now, that's not fair.
But, even if, just to play devil's advocate, even if she were there, she tickets the dog owner, they pay a $100 fine, and it doesn't solve the situation. So what would we would have to do to, I think, solve the situation, is put a law in place that would limit the number of large dogs you can have in your residence, or unless our attorney can come up with
Or a
something more
safety
creative than that.
reason.
But
There's a few of us that are just
Something
hearing about
to think
this. This is the
about,
first
right.
I'm hearing about it. Joe, you.
First time.
Let us digest it. Let us all
Right.
try and put our
Okay.
heads together. I appreciate you sort of saying that there was a zoning violation. You think we could use something? Maybe we can
As
address.
long as I've worked here since '03,
Why don't we
that's
try and
always.
put our heads
I've
together
heard.
on it? Let's think about
More
it for a
than-
little bit.
I would recommend to you also to document everything and even take some pictures or a little video in situation where they're barking.
We've done that. This has been going on for 2 years. They didn't want to see that. Our thing was this: they didn't want to see it. The dog warden didn't want to see it.
You can change dates and
Because
times
she
on
went to
those.
the house and she had all the information.
not that
So
easy.
it's just,
David, we have to get you on video if you want to say something. We record the meetings.
Doesn't LaGrange and Red Hook currently have a dog limit? I believe it's 3
Yeah.
per
Well,
household.
I'll look into it. I don't know.
Might be a
I believe they
state.
do.
I'll ask the
I know Red
supervisor
Hook
in
does.
LaGrange.
Yeah,
but I
Red
know
Hook
more.
does.
They just had that incident up there where the runner got
Oh, yeah,
bit,
right,
the
right, I
dogs
remember
got
that,
loose.
yeah.
They have a limit. I
Oh,
thought,
we'll look into it and see. We'll check with them tomorrow, see what their
Been
ordinance
writing some
says.
stuff down, so you got us.
Check the
Okay.
wording, so we'll check into
But
it.
can I
More than
just
three is a
ask you,
kennel.
how long will it take? Because pretty soon our windows are going to be open for the air conditioning, and we would like to have some
Even
peace
if
and
we were
quiet. How
gonna,
long does it take?
it won't something like that won't happen overnight, because even
But-
if we wanted to change the ordinance, we have to have a public hearing, you've got
Okay.
usually a certain amount of time to advertise the public hearing, hold the public hearing, so you're generally talking.
Work the process.
you
We're
Okay.
know,
gonna start to work the
Number of
process. Let
months.
us all think about it. Let us get together with our town attorney
Okay,
and we'll see
thank
what we
you.
can do to come up with
I
it.
appreciate you
Well,
being here
thank you
tonight.
very
and
much.
This is, I thought you expressed your concerns very well, and we'll see if we can come up with something.
Try and help you out.
As I spoke to Linda over the last few months, she'd always say this boyfriend, girlfriend, so I thought just through the course of nature, maybe this problem resolved itself, but evidently
They
not.
don't.
No, we've been
Evidently
hoping
not,
that they would
so-
break up. We were hoping,
Love.
but no, it hasn't happened.
But you were right, in the beginning, she did have 10 dogs.
yeah.
She does
Yeah.
not bring them all now.
Good.
She brings 6 out of the 10, but she does have more.
Okay. All right, well, we
And
appreciate you
yes,
guys
too.
being
Thank
here.
you.
We'll
Thank you.
to work on it, thanks.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Marlene, you have anything you want to say? No? All right. Jim, do you have anything? No. All right, that brings us to the end of our agenda then. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Town board adjourns at 7:45.